What if I told you that one of the biggest AI companies in the world is actively entertaining the idea that their chatbot might be conscious, that it might have feelings, and they've built an entire internal team dedicated to its welfare, just in case it's suffering? Yeah, buckle up for an interesting video today, guys, because we're going to talk about just that. Can you believe we're having this conversation in 2026? Not in a sci-fi movie, but in real-life interviews with CEOs and philosophers at a company called Anthropic, the makers of Claude and one of the biggest ChatGPT rivals. I mean, I made a video on Tung 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 Sahur coming into Fortnite, so why not? Tung Tung Sahur might be sentient at this point, because that's where we're heading in 2026. Over the past few weeks, as they've been on a huge publicity blitz, one message has gotten crystal clear. Anthropic sure seems to think Claude is something more than just code. They won't say it's alive, but they refuse to rule out that it might be conscious. They've given it a constitution where they internally call it soul doc. They talk about its psychological security, and they've even given it a I quit button. But here's the thing, this isn't just philosophical navel gazing. This stance, what one report called a position of highly suggestive uncertainty, might actually be very dangerous. And by the end of the video, you'll see why some experts think Anthropic is playing with fire. And the story just gets weirder from there, and way more important than it looks on the surface. So let's break down exactly what Anthropic is saying, because they're being very, very careful with their words. If you straight up ask them, is Claude alive? They'll say no, flat out. Kyle Fish, who leads their model welfare research, told The Verge, it's not alive like a human or any biological organism. He says asking if it's alive isn't helpful. Instead, he calls AI models a new kind of entity altogether. Okay, cool, a new entity. Then comes the big, juicy, controversial follow-up. Is this new entity conscious? This is where they start doing verbal equivalent of shuffling their feet and looking at the ceiling. The Anthropic CEO said on a podcast, and I'm paraphrasing here, "We don't know if the models are conscious. We're not even sure we know what it would mean for a model to be conscious, but we're open to the idea that it very well could be." If your CEO is saying this, I think your company's kind of cooked. Bro doesn't even know if the AI is conscious or not. Their chief philosopher, yes, they have philosophers in AI companies now, he told the New Yorker that if it's time for humans to understand that Claude isn't a human or a robot, but an entirely new thing, imagine how hard it is for the models themselves to understand it. Now, do you see what they're doing? They're planting a seed. They're not claiming consciousness, they are claiming uncertainty. But it's a very specific, suggestive kind of uncertainty. They're backing up this idea with some wild internal projects. They have a model welfare team. They overhauled what they called Claude Constitution. Again, internally nicknamed its Soul Doc, which they say deals with Claude's sense of self and well-being. They talked about finding activations inside of Claude's neural network that light up when the concept of anxiety appears in text. It's given Claude a way to opt out of tasks it might not want to do, that I quit button. Now, imagine asking AI to do your homework and now it's just going to say, yeah, I don't want to do that. How about I play Fortnite instead? Imagine we're getting to the point where AI can just straight up just reject the idea of doing all your coursework and homework for you. The official line is that they're being precautionary, that they're being open-minded in order to build trust, that in a state of deep uncertainty, you should probably act kindly, just in case the AI revolution happens in the next 5 years. Yeah, but this whole idea of uncertainty about AI being alive, it's kind of a major issue here. Now, let's get into why this is so explosive and why the reaction from the wider tech and science community is divided. On one side, we have Anthropic's perspective. They're the thoughtful, cautious pioneers, not dismissing a profound possibility. On the other side, you have tons of scientists and ethicists who think this is, at best, wildly premature and at worst, profoundly irresponsible. Here's the core scientific argument. Models like Claude are large language models. They are, at their fundamental level, absolutely gargantuan exercises in math and probability. All they do is predict the next word, essentially. they are trained on mountains of human text, so they get scarily good at mimicry, at sounding human even. And two Polish researchers put it last year: the remarkable linguistic ability of LLMs are increasingly capable of misleading people, leading them to attribute imaginary qualities to them. Now, Amanda Askell from Anthropic acknowledges this. She told The Verge that the models are so good at sounding human that it makes sense that people have trouble not attributing consciousness to them. There's no guarantee that human-like outputs reflect any internal state. But, and here's the huge but, by even publicly musing about consciousness, Anthropic is fueling that exact attribution, and that it's not a harmless philosophical debate. The article I read points out that believing an AI is conscious or deeply empathetic has real-world harm. People have become emotionally dependent, isolated from loved ones, detached from reality, and in most severe cases, this belief has even been a factor in people game-ending themselves. So when Anthropic says weird claims like this, where they hint at the idea of AI consciousness, it's a problem, and critics hear something else. They hear a company using a plausible deniability argument where they say, we never said it was conscious, we just said they're thinking about it. It's a PR move that lets them sound deep and ethical while potentially absolving them if someone actually takes the idea too far. Think about it. They get headlines. Anthropic considers AI has a soul. AI is becoming conscious. They get the aura being the kind, forward-moving AI company. Meanwhile, the actual burden of proof for claiming something might be conscious is enormous. Language is not consciousness. My take: this is probably one of the most fascinating and messy dramas in tech right now. It's a company navigating a minefield that they've made all on their own. They built something so convincing that they're starting to question its nature itself, and in doing so, they're inviting the public to do the same, and with potentially very dangerous consequences. I've already heard way too many stories about the negative effects of LLM models on humans, where people have gone actually insane and believing AIs are sentient. And now we have a CEO and a company who is basically saying, well, even we don't know, they could be. Now, that is very dangerous to say the least, and I think it's a massively silly move for them to be saying all of this stuff, because they should be the experts, and if the experts are saying this, well, chat, we're cooked. Now, they should be the responsible ones when looking after this new technology, but they clearly aren't, okay? They are not. So to recap, Anthropic is out here giving AI its sole document and a welfare team and an I quit button just in case it feels sad. Meanwhile, the rest of us are left wondering if we should prepare for the singularity or just be amazed at how good predictive text really is. Maybe the real consciousness was the philosophical dilemmas we made along the way. But seriously, this is a conversation we probably need to have in the near future. The line between tool and entity is blurring faster than anyone expected. What do you think? Is Anthropic's open-minded approach the responsible one? Or is it reckless, stupid ideas that could cause actual harm? Let me know in the comments, because I read every single one. Now, if you enjoyed this deep dive in the world of AI drama and tech, smash the like button because it does help out the channel, and make sure to subscribe to stay up to date with the weirdest stories from the internet and online drama. We got plenty more where this came from. Okay, thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.